Hi coquettes! Right, today we're going to be making meatballs with potato bravas. This is a Spanish dish. Okay, so I've made my meatballs already. I have made them in another video before. I think it's a spaghetti and meatballs, so please go back, have a look and see how I made them then, because I've left them in the fridge to keep nice and cool. Basically, I've chopped up 3 slices of wholemeal bread, garlic, 3 cloves of garlic, 1 leek, and blitzed it. And then I've done a pack of mince about that big, so about 400 grams of mince. Blended it all together, put an egg in it. Bob's your uncle, there you go, you've got some meatballs. Okay, so you're also going to need some unsmoked bacon. Now I've used the ones without the fat on it, so these are called unsmoked medallions. They're quite good, so I think that might help as well. So we're going to do that for a minute. Okay, so I've put them back in the fridge. I also put a bit of lemon zest into it, and I've put a little bit of paprika into it because obviously this is going to be Spanish, so you want Spanish. Some basil went into them and some thyme. But once again, have a look back, it will show you. Okay, so I've done 2 peppers, de-seeded and all cut up. I have got my lemon still, so for later. Like I said, I've got some thyme, some basil, some salt and some pepper. We need passata. This is like a sieved tomato sauce. The Italians and the Spanish both use it, so we can get away with that. 1 shallot diced. Oh, shallots went into the meatballs as well. Okay, some garlic chopped up, parsley, 30 grams, half chopped like that, and half chopped for later for your little sprinklings. Okay, we need paprika, oregano, and some balsamic vinegar. Okay, so I've got 4 potatoes here. I've got my pan already on so that we can get it nicely done. Now you have to excuse all this. This was all mine from earlier, but I thought it'd be easier rather than getting rid of everything and just having to throw peel away again in another bowl. Okay, so we're going to peel our potatoes. Should have really done this earlier, but I didn't really think about it. So, typical me. It's really hot today as well, so I thought potato bravas might be quite a nice idea because it takes you back into like the Mediterranean. Oh, I love going to Spain. So nice. I love Italy as well, but I love tapas. And tapas is where potato bravas came from. It was actually a peasant dish. Because obviously, like most 16th century or before, meat was only for the elite, so it was very hard to get meat. So really they would make this more of a stew, so they would catch rabbit or they would catch things like that, you know, and then make it into little meatballs, and that's how it all started off. So really it wasn't until like richer people decided that they liked it and found it fashionable that it all became quite a well-known dish. It's like everything really. You find that in Italy as well. Risotto was a very peasant dish because obviously it's just rice. It will fill you up for the whole of the day, and then you can keep going. Where else was I reading about? Oh, America. In America, if you lived in the woods, you would get jacket potatoes, put them in the fire, and they did it here as well. You go off into the mines or whatever you were doing, wood chopping, and you'll be there all day, and then when you came back your hot potatoes would be ready. So that was another thing, so they put it on the fire and just keep it going. So it's amazing really what people did to keep themselves less hungry during the day. I know I say that we keep ourselves less hungry today, but we can eat a lot more food than what was available then. Okay, so that's that one. I know I'm not wearing my usual apron today, but it with lots of cooking with Yanni videos, they all needed washing, and they're all on the washing line, so in drying time today. Just to get all the, don't want all of it on. Okay, so we're going to cut it like that. Going to cut it again, almost like you're making chips, but you're not, because we're going to cube them. So cut, cube. Now you can have them as thick or how thin you want them, but just remember not too thinly, because if they're too thin, you're going to end up having mushy potatoes, which is not really what you want. Okay, so do that. Now you see how I'm doing mine? I'm literally folding my hands and chopping, so my hands are nowhere near the knife blade. So when I chop it like that, I chop like that, chop like that, and then I'm going to go one more because it's quite thick, and then I put my hands there and in like that. Now don't be afraid of knives. I must admit, I did have a cooking accident the other day with my knife. That's because it slipped. I was doing lambs, so do you remember? It's all nice and done now. It's all sorted. Leanna is back on track. Okay, so we've got one more. There we go. So that's all that done. So we're going to pop them in there. And we're just going to partly cook them because we're going to put... Ooh, rogue ones. Okay, that wasn't good, was it? Oh, no. Okay, so put them on there. Leave the ones that have obviously gone on the floor and pop them in. Okay, so we're going to wait till they're pot boiled, so they should be soft to touch. So you literally, when you put your knife in, it should be hard but soft at the same time. It will make sense, don't worry. When you do it, you'll know it. Okay, and you do that with a sharp knife. Okay, so the pan I was going to use, I've used for that. Okay, we'll show you in a second. Okay, so we're going to need all of these bits anyway, because we're going to make the sauce in a second. So we need the lemon, and the thyme, and the basil, and everything else. Okay, so we're going to start making our sauce. So spray whatever oil you want. Obviously I'm using rapeseed oil because I like rapeseed oil. So we're going to put in our shallots. Come around this way, Gary. Say hi to Gary, everybody. Hi, Gary. Okay, and I'm going to put in our peppers. I'm going to leave the garlic just for a little while because we want to try and get that, I'm just going to turn that down a little bit. It's going to be crazy. So I'm going to get some basil leaves. And a couple of sticks of thyme. Just get that frying off. Because we don't want to put our garlic in too yet, otherwise it will burn. So put everything else that you know that won't really burn. Then in. There we go. There's that. Cool, it is hot in this kitchen today. Gary's going to agree on that one. I'm going to move our potatoes over to this one. And this over to that. So we'll get it done a little bit quicker. Okay, so there's that. We're going to start doing our potatoes in a minute. Our potatoes and our meatballs in a minute. So I'm just going to leave a bit more of that. There we go. Is this on? No, it's decided to go off. Fair enough. Okay, so we're going to put our garlic in now. Pop that in. I've just checked on my potatoes. They're not quite ready yet, but I'm going to move that around there because it will ruin my basil. Okay, pop in your parsley. And I've got a nifty little thing that shreds my basil now. Quite handy. You can pick these up from any garden shop. It's called, or Amazon. It's I don't really know what it's called. It's called a herb scissors, something like that. It's called, and it shreds your herbs. Quite a good idea actually. Okay, you have to excuse the noise up above. You can hear it. We've just got other people in the house today. So that's that done. So what we need now is some oregano. With oregano. And we're going to pop in about a tablespoon. This gives you a healthier way than adding wine or anything like that to your stock or to your sauces. Okay, so I'm going to pour in our passata. Now it's up to you. If you feel you want to add a little bit of stock to this and make it a little bit more thicker, it's up to you. Thinner, it's up to you. I would say only add a little bit if you are, because otherwise you're going to overdo it. Okay, so let's turn this off. That's one heat off. Okay, so I've put my potatoes, which are part boiled, into here. So I'm going to pop them on a really, really low simmer. Slimmer? Not slimmer. Setting. That's what I was thinking. Oh, I'll tell you what. It's not 100% today, is it really? But never mind, there you go. That's cooking with Yanni. That's what I'm like. Bit crazy. So, if you don't like craziness, it's just not good. Okay, right. So, I'm using Trivia. I think that mine needs a little bit of sweetness because the tomatoes are quite like sour, well, sharp. So I'm going to pop that in, and that just lifts it a tiny bit. Also, another trick that I learnt from a lady is if you put a little bit of lemon juice into your tomato sauces, it gives it a little bit of flavour. So just squeeze it in. There we go. If you get pips in it, you get pips in it. But obviously not too many pips, but you can pick them out while they're up the top anyway. Okay, so there's that. This we're going to turn on and we're going to start doing these. Oh, lovely. So, get that up to heat. We're going to get our bacon out in a minute as well, and we're going to do our bacon. Basically, what we're going to do with the bacon is cut it up, throw it in the frying pan, and put it in with the potatoes. Yay! Okay, so if I've done it already, when you come back, that's why. Okay, so I'm going to cook my potatoes, my meatballs. I'm going to put them in a clockwise position, or as a clock. Now, this makes it easier for me to decipher where I am with my meatballs. So I'm just going to literally get, if I can find it. Ah, we got it. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we just want to get them with a little bit of colour on each side. There we go. Gary's hitting me on the head, everybody. Right, okay, so that's been done there. So I'm going to get us a little thing as well so that we can put these on. Okay, so we want just a tiny bit of colour, well, not an overly big colour, but I think the heat's getting to me today. It's just like, woo! Okay, so we'll put them on there. Just put that one in just for a little bit longer. Now some of them have got a nice crust on them. That's what you want on some of them. Obviously you don't want them burnt, but you do want them with a little bit of colour, otherwise it's a little bit boring when you put them on top of your food. Now when I go to Spain, they give it, or Mallorca, they give it in really tiny little meatballs. Now you can do that, so if you wanted to do it for a starter, this is a perfect idea for a starter as well. So let's get them there. Okay, so that'd be that. So do all of that, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put them in the oven for about 10 minutes. They'll cook off, and then we're going to add them to our potatoes over there. So I'll see you in a bit, my coquettes. Bye for now. Okay, so just to let you know, I put my oven on at 200. You can put it at 180. It will just take a little bit longer, makes them a little bit softer. I like to just fry them off a little bit first, and then put them in the oven. I guarantee every time they come out nice and soft. Gary can agree on that one. If my mum and dad were here, they would agree as well. Okay, so I'm going to season with a little bit of salt. Just put that over there. A little bit of pepper. Give it a mix. Oh, look at that. Okay, so that's going to come off the heat now. And I should actually move that way a bit. Squidge, squidge, and put that there. Okay, now I'm going to use, I know we've made all that sauce, but you don't want too much sauce in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the one with the slats in it, just to give us a little bit, so it looks rustic as well. More. I'll put my bacon in here as well. That all got fried off, like I did explain what I was going to do. So that's that. So I'll pop that one there, and then we need our pinchers. Where did our pinchers go? There we go. Okay, so put them on top. Obviously once you've put this in, you can mix it in. If you want to mix it all in at once, you can mix it all in at once. That's totally your prerogative, whatever you want to do. I like to keep mine just a little bit separate, so that when you get it out the bottom, you get that lovely kind of tomatoiness that goes on top. It's just so good. Okay, so typical madness coming through again, and we're back in the room. Okay, so here's that. So I'll put that like that. Sprinkle a little bit of your parsley over the top. Okay, and there you go, my coquettes. There is your lovely potato bravas with meatballs. Okay, well thank you very much for watching my croquettes. We did really well on the last video. It was fantastic with all your sharing and your liking and your views. We actually got nearly 200 views, which was fantastic. So thank you very much for watching. So please like, please share, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.